So it's a fairly macabre scene this afternoon. There's an impala lamb kill that apparently was hoisted in this marula tree yesterday evening. Now it's on the ground. It has been fed on by a leopard. Well, obviously it was a leopard that killed it to put it up in the marula, but there's no sign of any leopard around here. My suspicions were that the Londolozi female made this kill and then most likely went to call her cub. She's been denning it about 500 meters that way. I think what's quite likely is that moving off to call the cub, she bumped into another impala lamb. They're everywhere at the moment, and that's just, you know, she would have instinctively gone after that, and that's a fresh kill for her. So this one's being left. It's covered in ants now. I think it's going to be finished by hyenas this evening. We'll have a little drive around and see if there's any sign of the leopard. Okay, there were a whole lot of impalas running. We wondered what was chasing them and thought maybe it was wild dogs, but it was. They weren't running in the normal way they would. Turns out it's a hyena, and I think this hyena is trying to panic the herd in order to flush any lambs that might be, any new lambs that might be in there. So let's see if we can catch up. They're just ahead of us here. Okay, wow, that was fairly exciting. Not for the impalas that were running for their lives. Shame, this time of year, hyenas become a big threat to the impala lambs. So most of the year you won't find impalas sounding the alarm at hyenas. They just watch them walk by, and then when they've gone, the impalas relax again. But now, because there's so many newborns in the herds, hyenas come in and they spook them and they just go and chase. They know the stamina of the young lambs isn't that good. And I wouldn't be surprised if this hyena actually caught them. We lost it. I mean, we were going about 40 kilometers an hour, and that hyena was pulling away from us. It ended up going to a thicket where obviously our speed was cut in half. So we'll drive along to the next clearing, see if there's anything there, but it's gone. So with the impalas, and it spotted a lamb just ahead of it that it was gaining on. So I don't know if that little one made it. But I mean, you're wild. So this is a shame. It's just a glut for predators now. Leopards, hyenas, wild dogs. It's just this endless buffet of impala lambs. Shame. Okay, well these two hyenas have just popped out of the bushes right next to us. So let's see where they go. Their heads are down, they're sniffing. So they're on the trail of something. I don't know if they're following a leopard or if it was their clanmate who was chasing the lambs earlier. But they're excited, tails up, they're moving, they're semi-agitated. I think if we follow them we might find some action. Okay, no leopard. I think they were mainly excited by the third hyena, the first hyena that had taken off after the impala lamb. I don't even know if that was it, but the two came out of the bushes, then they were joined by a third, quite a lot of excitement, a bit of greeting, and I'm hoping, for the sake of that lamb, that the one that joined them was the one that was chasing, and then if that's the case, it looks like the lamb got away, because there was no blood on its face, which there would have been if it had got the impala. So it looks like that lamb dodged a bullet this evening, and these hyenas are having a good rest now. So we'll leave them to it, see what else the evening brings. But geez, there was some wild excitement for a couple of minutes there. So I'm walking towards it. So it's not just the big predators that are territorial. Some birds are highly territorial, and the result of that territoriality and the competition between them can result in death, as evidenced by this Egyptian goose here.
So it's more than likely that this goose was killed by another goose, But we're going to let it be, and I'm sure a scavenger or predator will come tonight and feed on it, and it'll return back into the ecosystem.
Okay, this afternoon we're looking at an amazing group of termites. That are in this marula tree, in this crack. No, we're not really. We're actually looking at what's just beyond them. And this is the nest of a hornbill, or a pair of hornbills. Are they yellow-billed or red-billed?
I haven't seen the actual.
Okay. I don't actually know if they're red-billed or yellow-billed. This nest, we were told this nest was here. A couple of weeks ago we counted 6 eggs. Now, just double checking, having a look inside, we can see that some of them have hatched. And little hornbills are ugly. So, I mean, they would literally hatch in the last day or two. They've got no early quill feathers, they're just totally naked, blind, and there's still 1 or 2 eggs unhatched. The female hornbill is in there, so it's an amazing nesting strategy in which the female seals herself in the nest with mud and fecal matter, and the male will help lock her in there. She'll lay the eggs and then brood them until a couple of weeks after they hatch. She'll then break out of the nest, reseal it with the help of the male, and then they'll both feed the chicks until they're big enough to fly, and they'll break out and then all hop around as a family. So we've got an amazing look into the nest. It's very hard to see. The crack is tiny, which is obviously a defense mechanism so no predators can get in there, but it also means it's very hard for us to see in the nest. We've managed to get a brief look at some of the chicks. The female will be up in a kind of escape hatch up at the top. One of the prerequisites of a good hornbill nest is that there's a little space for the female to maneuver into for safety if anything does try and break in. So what's going to happen now, we're hoping, is that the male's going to come back. We haven't seen him around, but hopefully he's going to come back and feed the female. That's what he does. He has to make repeated trips to bring her food. She obviously can't feed while she's in there. So we're going to back off and give them some space, and then if we're very lucky, we'll see the male coming in to feed. I don't even know if it's a red or yellow-billed hornbill nest. We were just told hornbill. So, okay, let's back off. So we've been waiting for the male hornbill for quite a while now. He hasn't come to feed his female, so he's not doing a particularly good job as a provider, but in the meantime this wonderful herd of elephants has wandered out of the thickets to come and feed in the clearing right next to us. So the hornbill nest is about 50 meters that way, not even 30 meters, and we've got these ellies coming to feed all around us, so yeah, it's a lovely distraction while we wait. So that male hornbill was nowhere to be seen. We're losing the light, so we thought we'd spend the last of the day with this magnificent herd of elephants that's now re-emerged into the thickets, and they're being joined by others coming out into the open clearing to feed here. So, you know, it is getting dark, but it'll take 20 minutes just to sit with them, because it's always a special way to end the day. So this afternoon we're sitting with the Tsalala female and her daughter, who are in a spectacular state of discomfort. They are so full of wildebeest meat. The adult lioness has taken down a big, it looks like a wildebeest bull just from the size, although we can't get a good view of it. In fact, I'm not even going to commit on this to the sex. It's an adult wildebeest and it's in the bushes over there. They've eaten probably half of it and they are stuffed. So very little going on at the moment. Yeah, we're not going to stay here for too much longer. There's going to be zero action to speak of. But yeah, it's always a nice thing with these two lions, knowing what a tenuous state this female's hold on this territory is. It's always great when we see them in good health and on a kill, so it just kind of prolongs their time here by a couple of days. Because we know the Nkahuma pride are pushing south. You know, things could go pear-shaped with this lioness and her offspring at any stage. So it's always a nice little kind of happy punctuation mark in the week when we see them doing well. So we're going to let them sleep. Over the course of this winter, we saw this lioness get robbed by hyenas a number of times because it's only her who's going to put up a fight. Her daughter can't add much value when it comes to a scrap with rival predators. And any sizable group of hyenas, 7, 8 plus, will more than likely be able to pressure her off the kill. So we'll come back tomorrow morning just to see if anything's happening here. Hopefully they've still got the kill. But yeah, for now I think we're going to see very little movement. We're just going to see two lions fast asleep, trying to get comfortable with very, very full bellies. We can hear some elephants squealing on the other side of the river. So let's cross over to see them and we'll leave the lions to do their thing. We're just standing at the wallow that young elephant bull was engaging in a very fun afternoon in. And yeah, you can see there's mud splattered everywhere here. So I think this may well have not just been him, it may well have been the whole herd coming to wallow here. There's definitely been a herd through here. We heard a calf screaming, and then there's a specific noise they make when the mother doesn't want to give them milk and they get a little bit irritated. And most likely this young bull is tailing along behind that herd. He's headed down to the river, so I think that's where the rest of them will be. But this wallows like this become a very central part of an elephant's day during summer. It's hot, they use the mud to coat themselves, it protects them from the sun, from biting insects and ticks and things like that. It helps them get rid of parasites. So yeah, you'll find a lot of activity around these wallows. Rhinos, buffalo, warthogs, they all come and wallow here. And this might have started as something as small as a little elephant footprint in the mud years ago, and then as more and more animals come and use it and cake themselves in mud, more mud gets removed, it gets deeper and deeper and bigger, and you eventually get a big wallow like this. So yeah, hopefully this is setting the tone for a wonderful summer viewing elephants in the mud.